All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Penny. I am the founder of Living Proof, and I'm here today with Ed Giles, who is a young man who lived with severe shoulder pain for about 6 years and has now made a full recovery, living a full life again, having used a neuroplastic or mind body approach to get better. And Ed has offered to share his story with us today to offer hope to other people who are living with similar conditions. So, Ed, thank you very much for joining us today and welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Penny. No, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Looking forward
Great.
to sharing.
Yeah, fantastic. We're looking forward to hearing your story, which I know already is a great story and really inspiring. So,
Hmm.
it'll be great to hear your insights. To start with, I wondered if you might tell us a little bit about the kind of lead up to your diagnosis, which I understand ultimately was a diagnosis of shoulder bursitis. You want to tell
Yeah,
us what kind of led to that point?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so a bit differently to other people who say the recovery stories, I like to start very early on. So, like, I like to start in the childhood. So, like, just a few details that might resonate with anyone who's listening anyway. So, like, well, first of all, I just know I was a very highly sensitive child. Like, I've been told that many times in my life by many people. I just know I am, like the way I interact with the world as an adult, I can tell. Like I just very curious, very sensitive. Stuff affects me a lot. So that's like an important part of the childhood. But like I have very early memories, maybe from about 5, 6, of having anxiety, having the experience of anxiety, so from a very young age. Um, and that persisted till the diagnosis, these feelings of anxiety. So that was kind of my first taste of potentially like what a chronic issue could feel like at a young age. And then, yeah, that kind of like the situation I found myself in as a child, like with the parents, like I was very materially taken care of. Like they did an amazing job in that side of things. And we could have a lot of fun together, like playing lots of games, sports, all of that kind of side of stuff. I was actually having a great time. But the emotional psychological side of stuff, like there wasn't much attunement going on. Didn't really feel like I had many places to go or people to go and speak to about what was going on or express myself fully. So that kind of side of things wasn't really attended to. So from a young age, I kind of learned to just keep it all in, keep
Yeah,
it in as much as I possibly could. Just don't rock the boat. And then a couple of other like important points about that is just, yeah, well, when I grew up, my dad had sciatica the entirety of like from when I was born. He had sciatica and migraines.
wow.
So like he was suffering with his own chronic pain and he was definitely a workaholic, very different now, but at the time he was a workaholic, so he didn't have that much time for us. Um,
Yeah,
but, and then my mum was just, yeah, she also had kind of anxiety traits, and I think the marriage for both of them wasn't particularly feeling good as a child for me. And like that kind of came to a head at about 11. Uh,
yeah,
so that's kind of like the background and like kind of me getting sensitized anyway. Like I definitely was like getting more sensitized as a child. Um, we
yeah.
also had this kind of family motto, which I think's very interesting and applies a lot for neuroplastic pain, which is just like we called it the Giles grit, where you kind of just grit your teeth and go through anything to get to the goal you wanted. Like it didn't really matter how you were feeling, so you just if you could achieve something, you would just keep on pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. So that's kind of how I grew up. And I love sports and this kind of thing. So I was super competitive and would push for a lot of pain just to try and beat someone at a sport. So that's kind of how I was as a child. And then, like leading into teens, that continued just really competitive, quite anxious. Um, just loved tennis, loved football, loved being out with friends. Really had a rebellious streak, like did not like authority very much, did not like being told what to do. And then like that kind of all leaded up to like when I was 17, I just passed my driving test. And then, yeah, from there, like a month later, it was a very cold night in November and it was very icy and the roads had just been gritted, so really slippery. And yeah, I just came around a corner too fast and went into a van at like 40 miles per hour. Um,
Awful.
yeah, really horrendous crash, really bad. Um, Somehow I managed to walk out of that without any serious injuries. So it seemed like no broken bones, no like big sprains, no cuts really, just yeah, like potentially had been knocked out and had a concussion, but it was hard to tell. Um, so walked away with no injuries, but yeah, it was very scary. Like I remember waking up, like coming to on the police car and like shaking with like
Mm.
all of the adrenaline, the shock of the impact and just what had happened, and just like the aftercare of that event. Like I started to have some sort of pains in the shoulder area
Mm.
after then, but I didn't get really any aftercare after the event, like psychologically. Like kind of just a day at home, then was back at school.
Mm.
Parents were just in their own kind of world of own pain, and they didn't really have time for me. So, and then a teacher said it was my fault that first day when I was back, when I was very,
Mm.
very vulnerable. So I kind of just, yeah, just internalized that fully and just didn't never
Yeah.
went there. Too scary, too much shame
Yeah.
about it. And then the
Yeah.
pain started. Um, so it just started to kind of come on and off then
Mm.
through the next couple of years. Like I still was playing tennis, football, and stuff like this. Like I still was very active. But I distinctly remember going traveling and being on a motorbike and being in absolute agony on the motorbike. Like that, like position
Mhm.
and like the fact that I was driving as well. I think like I didn't quite realize what the driving was doing to me, but I was obviously very heightened. But I
Mm.
was in agony while driving the bike, like real, real pain. But I wouldn't say anything to my friends who I was with. I just would keep it completely locked in. Um, so that's kind of where I was at coming into 19. And then when I was 19, I my parents got a divorce, which had been coming, but
Mm.
still my dad and myself were fully blindsided by it,
Mm.
and it was pretty messy. And I just moved to uni, so I had very limited support network. So I just was meeting people for the first time over those few months, um, and the pain just went through the roof. My pain
Mm.
just went through the absolute roof, like shoulder, so like I could barely lift it above my head anymore. I like started to get sciatica, like depression, anxiety, insomnia, tinnitus, like loads of different symptoms at once. And I was still going and doing things like playing tennis and stuff, but the cost I was paying at that point was so high. Like
Mm.
I'd play tennis and I'd just lie on the floor for like 6 or 7 hours after, just trying not to be in pain. Um,
Gosh.
so that was kind of the tipping point into where it became fully a chronic issue. And then at that point, yeah, I was very lucky that I was young enough and my dad had private healthcare insurance that I could go privately and go get a diagnosis quite quickly. And
Mhm.
they went and did some MRIs and X-rays and diagnosed me with shoulder bursitis in the right shoulder.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's
Okay.
kind of how it led up to the diagnosis. And then, yeah, that's that was the
Yeah.
lead up.
Yeah. And bursitis, just for people that don't know, and I might be one of those
Hmm.
people, bursitis effectively means inflammation, doesn't it? A form of severe inflammation.
Yeah, so yeah, bursitis, like as far as I know, it's been a little while since I've thought about it, but it's like inflammation, like there's like these sacs in the joint that lubricate the joint, and it's inflammation of the sacs in the joint.
Yeah.
So it like I think the theory is that it stops joint being able to move very well.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
and that's how it was feeling because it was like crackling and crunching and
Yeah.
like really, really stiff. So it made a lot of sense to me at the time as a
Yeah.
diagnosis.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a horrific story, the car crash and then how your body reacted to everything that happened afterwards,
Hmm.
really, really tough, really tough. And it's amazing how the light can be shone on that later, isn't it? And
Hmm.
how it all sort of falls into place once you understand better the kind of neuroplastic science behind it, I suppose. So yeah, fascinating. Okay, so you've had this diagnosis of shoulder bursitis. And what did you do next? What kind of treatments did you try before you discovered the thing that actually did work in the end?
Yeah, yeah. Like it's important. Like it's an important part of the journey is like trying everything. Almost like I was convinced it was physical at the time. Like really convinced, and everyone had told me that as well. Like every specialist I've been seeing, people like that, and doctors and osteopaths and physios, they're all confirming. So yeah, so I saw the doctor, like got a steroid injection in the shoulder. But unfortunately, all that did is move the pain over to my other shoulder. So now I had pain in both the shoulders after
Mm,
that. Like there wasn't, like it wasn't relief. Like the pain actually spread from that.
mm,
Like there was
Wow.
very limited relief, like maybe a day, and then the pain just spread.
Wow.
Uh, so that really didn't work for me. And then all they really were offering me through the NHS after that was just painkillers, like
Mm.
very strong painkillers, which
Yeah.
I was very unwilling to take just because
Yeah.
of the impact they were going to have on the stomach. And just that had very little appeal to me. So I kind of gave up on the medical route after a few months, maybe like 6 or 7 months. I was just like, oh, like I don't want to speak to any more doctors about this. Like they don't have anything for me. They don't
Yeah.
have anything for me. Like they're just offering the same things, and I'll be waiting in a massive list for physio and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I tried lots of different private treatments, like yeah, physiotherapy, like probably like 6 or 7 different physiotherapists, um, osteopaths, chiropractors, acupuncture. My mum's a Pilates teacher, so Pilates, like a lot of Pilates, a lot of stretching. Yeah, like started self-medicating with weed at that point
Mm.
instead of using the painkillers. So then became quite dependent on weed as well. So like that was part of it. Like that was one of the only things that allowed me to relax at night.
Mm.
Um, like going kind of got caught in that cycle too. But yeah, like all of these, and massage as well was another thing. But all of these treatments would be like good for a couple of days, and then I'd just be straight back to even worse pain or pain
Yeah.
just as bad. And then it's like that cycle of hope. Like you have this hope, like, oh, this treatment's going to be the one, and then you
Yeah.
get absolutely crushed when it isn't the one, and then just slowly sink more in the despair of nobody knows what's going on. Like this isn't going to help, and no one knows how to help. So I kind of maybe like 3 or 4 years in, I stopped looking quite so hard for treatments and just basically was just stretching all the time. Like that turned into my like self medication, like just stretching all the time, like probably like 4 hours a day.
Mm.
Like I'd be talking to people and stretching in doorways or in child's pose or just constantly. Like it'd be like as soon as I stopped stretching, I could feel tension in the system arising, and then I would just feel like compelled to go stretch.
Mm.
So it became like a bit of my obsession.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, and the life got smaller and smaller as those years went, as it tends to go for people. Like I was still playing tennis, and I stopped playing tennis a couple of years in. Stopped playing football, stopped running, stopped lifting weights. Kind
Yeah.
of just a life started to get more shrunk down. Like one of the only things I carried on doing really was dancing, but that was because I could be inebriated. So when I was inebriated, I was kind of fine for that period, and then I'd suffer so immensely the next day. Like
Yeah.
it'd be horrendous pain the next day, but
Yeah.
for those like few hours, it would be okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was
Yes.
kind of where the life went.
So many of the things you're saying, I'm sure will resonate with people that are
Mhm.
watching this, especially I think that cycle of hope and despair when you think you find something and you feel this kind of light opening up above you and you think, oh, this is going to be it, this is going to be it, and then you try it and like you say a couple of days later, bang, back to where you were or worse, and your hopes come crashing down and you just end up in this pit of despair again, don't you, until you find the next thing that you might want to
Mhm.
try. And of course meantime you're spending a fortune, and yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was a fortune, to be fair. It was
Yeah.
an absolute fortune of like thousands of pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. It's miserable, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, so you went through a number of years of kind of trying these different
Mhm.
alternative treatments, ending up with mostly stretching to feel a little bit better, and then eventually you discovered the kind of mind-body or neuroplastic approach.
Mhm.
Would you like to tell us about that and how you used that to then go on to actually recover?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, like, yeah, 6 years in, I was very low. Like, I'd finished uni, kind of finished job, was living with my dad alone in the countryside, so I was quite isolated. Like, it was probably my lowest moment of the entire journey. Was like, yeah, around almost exactly 6 years in, basically. Um, like, I just like had a very distinct thought that I still can remember of like, what's the point in having kids? Because I'm not even gonna be able to like lift them or play with them or any of that, like all of the stuff I would like to do with a child. Like I was like,
Mm,
what's even the point? Like what would be
mm,
the point of having kids? So like the future was looking quite bleak.
yeah.
And then at that point, yeah, like I kind of opened up a bit once I'd reached that point. And I had this book saved called The Mind Body Prescription by Dr. John Sarno in my phone for about a year. And for about a year, I just looked at it and be like, that's just absolute nonsense. Like, why would anything to do with like psychology or emotions have anything to do with my pain? Um, but I was very desperate, so I was like, well, nothing to lose at this point. So I just read the book, when I was at home, like in a February day. And it was like the first thing that actually made a lot of sense for me in terms of like pain moving around, personality traits, like being like really perfectionistic, emotionally repressed, people pleasing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just a lot of stuff started to kind of like puzzle pieces started to come together. And he was the first person who said there was hope as well. Like there was hope to get better, which was huge. I
Mm.
hadn't heard that for a very long time. And just, yeah, as I was reading the book, I was looking back at certain times and was like, like that doesn't make sense if it was physical. Like why was I in agony when I was breaking up with a partner
Mhm.
and then fine after when nothing physical was changing other than the fact that I was absolutely terrified of doing it, like really stressed. So that kind of started to, yeah, it just made a lot of sense for me.
Mm.
So I read that in like a day, like really excitedly, as a lot
Mhm.
of us do, I think, when we come across this thing that really
Yeah.
works for us. It can be very exciting. And then from there, I very luckily, a friend offered to do an MDMA therapy session with me, which was a massive gift, like literally 3 days later. And a lot of Dr. Sano's work is based on repressed emotions and how they affect our systems.
Hmm.
And that just like unlocked the key for me to get to my emotions. Like all of this anger and grief and rage just started coming up and pouring out of me there. And I was like, after I was like, oh my God, like that's been hidden. Like
Mm.
that's the clear sign of what's been hidden in my system. Like I didn't even know I had that anger. I haven't been angry in like 6 years. So all of that poured out. And yeah, like I just was convinced I wasn't going to be in pain anymore if I did that work. So then I just followed Dr. Sano's advice and just started journaling, like do the 3 lists, like the past, present, stresses, and like personality traits that contribute to stress. Made those lists and just started writing them at the top of a page and writing for half an hour and just ticking
Mhm.
them off and like trying to really tap into what was going on in here, what I was actually feeling and like crying and raging a lot and all of that. And then on the other like flip was just reminding myself that my body's okay, like I'm okay, I'm physically all right. Like this pain is emotional. Like it's not like I don't need to be afraid of doing physical activity. I don't need to be afraid of moving in certain ways or sitting in certain ways. Like that isn't necessary. And just constant reminders, like all day. Like that'd be like my consistent work throughout the day would be just reminding myself that I'm okay. And
Mhm.
then like the specific periods, like in the evening for me, it was like of journaling and doing the emotional work. Um, and then yeah, like it was quite quick for me. I can't remember exactly the amount of time, but within like the month, I was definitely back to like doing workouts, playing tennis, walking far, running, like still in a bit of pain, but I just wasn't particularly frightened of the pain anymore. And I was so excited to be back doing exercise that I was just like, I don't care about the pain. Like I would rather just be exercising and have some pain than just be sitting in the house anymore,
Yeah.
reading, like being on Reddit basically. Um, so yeah, that was kind of like the start, and that's the approach. And then from there, I've just continued doing that over the years, and it's really worked for me. Like it's really, really worked for me. So like the neuroplastic approach, mind body approach, however terminology you want to use, like just rewiring the brain has really worked wonders for me, and it's just expanded my life so much more. Like doing the emotional work, like it's changed my life much more than just being in the pain. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then like when I knew I was recovered, it was after I went and did a 4 month long manual labor job where I was carrying like these big, heavy 30-kilo tents on top of the shoulder that used to be in agony. And I realized I could just do it and I was fine. And like I had some pains like everyone else because it's really hard labor, but I literally was fine. I was sleeping on the floor in a tent and I was like, okay, like this is robust. Like my body's robust. So that's
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, that's where it kind of all came together for me.
What a lesson to learn. That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Mhm.
When we manage to make that switch in our minds, it's an incredible moment, isn't it? Yeah. Do you want to say any more about the the changes that you've experienced in life, as well as obviously getting rid of the pain?
Yeah, sure, sure. Like one of the big changes, like how much I realized I wanted to work to help people. And like what that has happened is like now I'm helping people with chronic pain. Like I'm lucky enough to work both individually and in a company and like a charity to help people with chronic pain through this method, which is a real gift. Like that was a real gift. Like I didn't quite realize how much I wanted that. But
Mm.
also, yeah, like I feel a lot more joy because I feel all my emotions now. I feel a lot more joy in my life. Like I'm not numbed out to the world. I actually can hold like really beautiful relationships now with friends and romantic and family. Like my relationships with people have shifted through doing this work and setting boundaries.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel like I know what I want a bit more. Just like I
Yeah.
do what I want a bit more. Like I'm not just following along on whatever the repression was pushing me towards. Like
Yeah.
I kind of actually deciding what I want to do. So yeah, it's opened my life up a lot. Like that's how it feels. It feels like the heart is opened. My heart's opened. So it's just allowed a lot more beauty and sometimes a lot more pain in emotionally. But that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's kind of, I'd rather it that way. I
Yeah.
always rather it that way. Like I've seen both sides and like
Yeah.
it's much better to be open in my
So
view.
the full spectrum of emotions is
Exactly.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Fantastic. All right. So I suppose just one last question, really, Ed, before we finish up. Is there anything that you would like to say to other people that might be watching this that are living with this kind of pain or other kinds of pain? What's the message that you'd like to pass on to them?
Yeah. Like what I say to everyone I meet with chronic pain, which is similar to what the Curable app says, which is just like first of all, like your pain is real. Like no matter what people have said to you, like I know for a fact that's real. Um, like you can't make it up. Like science has shown that you can't make it up. So that's the first like key point. If you feel like you've been dismissed, don't like it is real. There's people who are out there who will believe you. Um, just need to find them.
Yeah.
And then just like the second one that was really helpful for me was like your pain's not your fault. Like I still need to remind myself of that sometimes if I'm having like a symptom here or there because I am human and we still like life still has its stresses and challenges. Sometimes I feel through the heart, sometimes I feel through the body. It kind of depends on the day. I need to remind myself, like, oh, this isn't my fault. Like this is just like an overprotective brain or like there's a stress that I haven't quite dealt with yet. So it's not your fault. Like this pain is here for a reason, but it's not because of you really. And then the third one's like just like you can get better. You hold more power than you think. Like I'm just an ordinary guy, and I've got better, and I've seen other people get better, and they're no different from you. Like we're all humans in it together. Like you're not the exception. Like you truly can get better. You hold so much more power than you think you do internally. So those are the three messages that I like to say to everyone in chronic pain, and just yeah, and you absolutely deserve to get well. You
Hmm.
absolutely deserve to get well. Like,
Yeah. Fantastic. Those are great messages, Ed. Thank you very much. Really, really powerful stuff. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I'm sure it's going to help many, many people in the future move to a similar place that you're now in with your life. So thank you.
yeah, no, thank you, Penny, and thank you to anyone listening. It's been a pleasure.